Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I bring you another great news in this video. Did you know that you can become a permanent resident of New Zealand right from your home country before you travel to New Zealand? You don't need to go there first, work there for some years or live there for some years before you become a permanent resident. I am here to introduce to you this visa route called the straight to residence visa. With this visa route, you'll be able to get the permanent resident status. Okay, that means that you have an indefinite stay. You can stay as long as you want in New Zealand. All right, so if you are 55 years or younger and you want to live and work in New Zealand, you can apply for this visa. And another great thing is that you can include your family in your application, meaning that you can relocate with your family, and everything takes like between 2 to 3 months. You are done with the whole process and you relocate with your family. Now I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this visa route. Okay, but first of all, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on the bell beside the subscribe button so that anytime I upload a video, you'll be notified. Okay, make sure you like this video and share it to those who might need it, and we jump right into the video. We take you through and show you the things you need to know so that you see them by yourself. Okay, so this is the New Zealand immigration website. Okay, and this is the visa we are talking about. The visa is the straight to residence visa. So you can apply for this visa if you currently work or you have a job offer from an accredited employer and your role is on tier 1 of the green list in demand. We are going to see the list of the jobs in demand. Okay, so just stay tuned and ensure you watch this video till the end so that you don't miss out any useful information. Now, the length of stay is indefinite. Like I said, this means that you are going to stay indefinitely, right? And the age range is 55 years or below. Okay, if you are 55 and below, you are eligible to apply. The cost of this visa is around 4,290 New Zealand dollars. Okay, and the processing time is within 3 months. Okay, so 80% they process everything. 80% of their applications were processed within 3 months. So they are giving you this time range to so that you know what to expect. Okay, so with this visa you can live and work, you can even study in New Zealand. You can include your partner and dependent children aged 24 or younger in your visa application. Okay, so if you have any child that is above 18 and under 24, you can still include them in your application. Now, things to note: at the time you apply, you must be working for or have a job offer from an accredited employer, which I already mentioned. So before we look into the roles or the jobs in demand, I would like us to look at the requirements first of all. Okay, so before you can be able to know what you need to apply, you must enter your country. Okay, so they have different requirements for each country. Now, let's assume that I'm a Nigerian. Okay, so I will look for Nigeria. I will look for the requirements for Nigerians. So my country or my passport has Nigeria, and location. Okay, let's also assume that I am living in Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian living in Nigeria. Okay, so after putting your country of citizenship and your country of residence where you are currently, you click on display. Okay, now it has tailored the search to our need. Okay, so for Nigerians now, you will see what you need to apply. Check if you are eligible to apply for this visa and what supporting documents and information you need. This is what we are going to see here. So first of all, you will need your identity. You must provide a proof of identity. Okay, so thereby they need one acceptable photograph of you. You provide one acceptable photo and a scan of the personal details page of your passport or certificates of identity. You know the page we are talking about. So this is for your ID. Now you can just read further to check the acceptable photos for a visa. Okay, so know the requirements for the passport, whether it is white background or blue background or red background. You're going to see the information here over here. Okay, so now after you apply, they will let you know if they still need to see your original passport. Most of the times they do not need you to send your original passport, but in case whenever they need it, they will also let you know. All right, so apart from your identity documents, they will also need you to have a good character. Okay, you must be of a good character. If you or anyone else included in your application or aged 17 or older, you must provide a police certificate from all the countries you are a citizen of and any other country you have stayed in for 12 months or more over the last 10 years. You will also need to get a good character for resident visas, okay, like character certificates or something. So they have a tips here. Police certificates must be less than 6 months old at the time you apply. Next one is, if you provide a police certificate that is not in English, you must provide an English translation. Please, you must provide an English translation. If possible, translate all your documents to English, even your certificates, your qualifications. Okay, if they're not in English, translate them to English. Okay, so this includes police certificates that record no convictions. They must all be in English. All right, so the next requirement is your health. You must be in good health. Okay, you and your partner, if they are included in your application, need to show us you have an acceptable standard of health. Okay, so you can view here to see the acceptable standard of health criteria for visa approvals. Okay, so just like every other country, you will complete a medical examination. Okay, note, if you have provided medical certificates to us before, you may not need to provide them again. It must not be more than 3 months old when you apply for your visa. Okay, remember, your police certificate must not be more than 6 months old, and your medical certificate must not be more than 3 months old. The age criteria is you must be aged 55 or younger at the time you apply. So they will check your identity documents, for example, your passport, to confirm your age. Okay, so that is how they will check it. Now, your relationship with your family, if you include your partner and children in your application, you must have a genuine relationship with them. Okay, so you'll be asked to provide a marriage certificate or and birth certificates of your children. Okay, that will prove your relationship with them. All right, English requirements: you must speak and understand English. Okay, so how are they going to prove it? So they said there are two ways to show them that you speak and understand English. The first one is through your citizenship, where you studied and qualifications you gain. Okay, so when they see your country of citizenship, they will know that, okay, you are an English person or you're not an English person. Another way is where you studied. All right, when they look at your qualifications and everything you gained, they will be able to see whether you can speak English, whether you can understand English or not. Another way they can see that is through your English language test. Okay, so that means that you are going to take an English language test. Now, the results of your English language test must meet the minimum score we set. Okay, it must not be more than 2 years old when you apply. I hope you are taking notes, okay? When we assess your application, we may ask for more evidence of your ability to speak and understand English. If we do, you may have to sit a test and send us the results. Now you get it. So, if your university in Nigeria or wherever you studied is able to send them the letters stating that you were taught in English and your qualifications are in English, okay, and they accept it. But then at the long run, or maybe when they start processing your applications, they feel like, okay, there is something they want to find out about your level of English and all of that, they may ask you to now go and write the test, even though you have submitted an evidence. You must before meet your roles requirements in the green list. First of all, you must search for your role in that green list. Okay, search for the role for the straight to resident visa. You must be in a tier 1 role. Okay, they have tier 1 and tier 2 role. Tier 1 role is straight to resident visa. Okay, you don't need to work for some years before you get your permanent residency. But tier 2 role is work to resident visa. In case you start searching for a job or searching for your role on the green list, make sure you are looking for tier 1, because tier 2 requires you to work for 2 years before you get the permanent residency. But with tier 1, you are getting a straight permanent residency. Okay, the second requirement is that you must provide evidence you meet your roles requirements. Okay, so you may need an international qualification assessment (ICA) for your overseas qualification. Lastly, the acceptable employment. Okay, you know it's not all employment that is acceptable for this visa route. You must meet the criteria for acceptable employment in New Zealand. Acceptable employment is when you work for an accredited employer. I mentioned that earlier. Okay, you must be working for an accredited employer or you have a job offer from one. Then you meet the roles requirements such as the median wage or salary threshold, okay, the registration, professional membership or qualifications. Okay, so you must meet the requirements for that particular role you are seeking. Okay, then the next one is that your employment is full-time and genuine. Your employment must be a full-time employment. Okay, I mean, you are coming from the overseas, you are coming to work, so it must be a full-time employment and it must be genuine. All right, so the next one is that the role is permanent or fixed term for at least 12 months or a contract for at least 6 months or more. This is where you'll be able to check if an employer is accredited. But before you check, you click here to get the roles on the tier 1 list, the ones that will be able to give you this visa route. Then when you look at the employer, you will now go to the employer list to check if they are eligible to give you a job that will bring you to New Zealand. Another one is there is link for wage requirements for visas. Okay, so this is for the current median wage right now. Okay, this is the current rate. You find them here. All right, the process and cost, you apply online. Okay, so the process is that you apply online. If there's anything else you need to do, they will let you know. Okay, if you're already in New Zealand, you must hold a valid visa before applying. But if you are applying from outside, of course you just apply online. Okay, so the immigration cost is $4,890. That is New Zealand dollars, not US dollars. Okay, this is the charge for Immigration New Zealand to process your application. We do not refund application costs if we decline your application. Okay, a non-refundable immigration levy is charged and it's included in the cost. You can pay for your application online by Visa, MasterCard or Union Pay. So this is how you'll be able to pay for your application, and they do not refund application fees. So make sure that before you apply, of course, before you apply, you must have gotten a job offer and put all your documents in place. Okay, make sure that you have the necessary documents, the necessary things they need you to put in place, so that there will not be any need for refusal. Okay, we may ask for evidence to support your application. So if there's anything you need to do, we will let you know. Good thing is that there's this chance. Okay, if there's anything they still want you to provide, they will let you know. The next step is we make a decision about your application. Okay, so after you must have applied, you await decision. If your visa application is approved, we will contact you by email advising that the status of your application has changed. You can then log into the immigration online to check the status of your application. If approved, you'll be granted an e-visa. Okay, I would like us to look at these green list rows. This is where we'll be able to see the opportunities. Okay, so look at what we have here. Okay, you can see now, you can see my screen. Acoustic engineer, this is a tier 1 role, eligible for straight to residence. Can you see that? So if you're an acoustic engineer and you have all the requirements for this job, you'll be able to get your resident permit straight from your country. Okay, so you just go through them one after the other. Just look at the opportunities they have. So many engineering uh opportunities, and tier 1, all these tier 1, they are eligible for straight to residency. Okay, so guys, that is all for this video. To recap, go to that green list, okay, and search for your career, search for your profession. Make sure that your profession is under the tier 1 list, those that are eligible for a straight to resident visa. Okay, so with that code, you now search for a job. Okay, and when you get an employer, you will check if your employer is an accredited employer. I mentioned how you will check that in this video as well. When you check your employer and your employer is an accredited one, then you are good to go. You can now apply for your visa with all the required documents. Okay, so I hope you find this video helpful, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.